What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? It's been a good day so far. We are in Colorado, so excuse my hotel room if you're seeing that. But thanks for jumping in. Thanks for joining today. Um, I have a few questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull those up. Just in general, I would say it's been a very interesting last few weeks, just of like travel and recruiting. I've been in California, I've been in Washington, I've been back in Virginia, and now I'm here in Colorado. I'll head back to Virginia, and then I'll head to Atlanta. From Atlanta, we'll probably be in Tennessee. So it's just an interesting, amazing process, long process. So we had a little bit of a rain delay at the games we were at today, so I came back to the hotel to do the live, and then I'm gonna head right back out and go watch some more softball. So excited to be here with y'all today. Definitely want to answer a few questions. Some of these questions are repeated, but I think the more we can hear them, the better. I would say first and foremost, thank you to those who have been interacting with me more. My TikTok has literally gone viral a bunch of times with my videos, and so that's been pretty exciting. So I share them here with you all. I've also transitioned them over to Instagram and just getting some good feedback from there. It's actually kind of cool to be at showcases and people say to me, I saw you on TikTok, or I saw your videos, or I watched what you're doing. Like, that's exactly the kind of response. That's the kind of interaction I want to have with people. So it's really cool. And then even having athletes, say, oh, mom sent me your video or whatever. So I hope that for me, this content only helps you in this journey, in this process, as a parent of an athlete that wants to play at the highest level. So if it doesn't serve you, then that's completely fine. But I'm hoping that that's the case. So, and I believe that that's why you're here. So let's see. I had a couple of posts that I posted this week, but I'm going to go with the questions that someone has for me or had already written to me first, and then we'll go from there. So a parent asked me, she's a parent, she has a 2029 graduate. That means she is going to be a freshman in high school. And so we were talking about a couple of different things. And so the first question that she asked me was, let's see, my daughter's Instagram is private. Do we change it to public or create a new profile for her for softball specific so coaches can view her videos? So I would say first and foremost, yes. Like if your athlete's looking to be recruited, their profile should not be private. So please take their profiles off of private immediately. You don't have to have a separate Instagram account. The Instagram account that she uses should be one. Let's not double duty the work on the same platform. If anything, if you want to create a different account, create an Instagram account and a Twitter account, right? This way, or an X account. This way, we can share to both places versus having one account or having two accounts on one platform, if that makes sense. So, no need to double dip in Instagram. If you want to make another profile, I would highly urge you to have an Instagram and a Twitter. And it takes you 10 seconds to post on one, and you have to make a shorter content caption to post on the other, which is actually kind of good. So if you're going to create two, do both, right? So second part to that is she asked me, is Twitter still the best option, or has YouTube become a better option for viewing videos? And so the way you want to think about this concept of like videos and being accessible to coaches is that you have to understand that there are tons and tons of coaches in our world, and each of them like different things. So why I recommend having both social media and a YouTube, not one or the other, is because there are some coaches who like to see quick clips, and you use that for your social media. And there's some coaches that maybe want to learn a little bit more about your athlete or see what other things they're doing as an athlete in the world. So like with YouTube, you might have more highlights of a tournament. You might have strength conditioning workouts. You might have lessons work that they've been doing, right? Work that they do on their own. And yes, you would have all that on your Twitter or your social media, but when you allow them to go to the YouTube channel, they can kind of pick and choose which one they want: game footage, non-game footage. And I'd always say like keep the highlights on your Twitter or on your X or on your Instagram. So having it more highlighted versions there and then giving them a link on your Twitter to go to your YouTube channel allows them to decide if they want to see more of you. So I hope that that helps answer that question. Have both, and give them more on YouTube and give them highlights on their social media. Okay. So next question was, now that the rules have changed with playing out of JUCO and eligible for 6 years, what do you expect will change in the next few years with recruiting? Will big schools look more to JUCO versus high school? So that's a great question. That ruling actually did not that ruling did not happen. So the only ruling that has changed right now is our roster cap of 25 and our opportunity to fund 25 scholarships within our program. The 6 year JUCO ruling did not happen, so that's not necessarily something that's actually going to be enforced. It only worked for that particular athlete. It wasn't a federal ruling. So that's something you should know. Now, in general, the climate of softball being that we now can offer scholarships to 25 athletes, the fact that we now have higher athletes in the transfer portal, now that we have a roster cap of 25, that will always, like anytime you have new rules and changes, there will be some effects to the classes that are coming in. But what I would say is that as coaches, I think the biggest thing is like we always want to elevate our program. So whether that is someone, and again, this also goes by coach, but whether that's someone who we feel has more experience at the community college level that we then recruit into our program, or we have some coaches that want to kind of shape athletes into their culture, they go to the more high school levels. That's just something you have to kind of do your research on from school to school. So I would say in general, I wouldn't worry too much about it because the same process applies regardless of if you are fighting against community college athletes or whether you're fighting against the same class of student body within your athlete's graduation year. Either way, you still have to make yourself known, exposure to those coaches. You have to be evaluated by those coaches. You go through a comparison process to determine which athlete is the best fit, right? And then you get the offer. So either way it goes, you're gonna have to find ways to your athletes have to find ways to know their value and then be able to share that value with those coaches that makes them feel like they want to bring them in. I think I think that's just something that we have to understand. And since I'm on this sort of topic, I feel like what I've heard a lot lately, even from some of my videos posted, and I talked about camps and money grabs and playing for different organizations, and you have to have money and all these things. Like I think we are all finding a way to have a narrative that fits our situation or not. And so what I mean by that, I'll give you an example. So on a TikTok, I had a person say, well, basically the only way that you're going to be able to get recruited is if you have money and you play for high level teams. And I do believe that there is something to be said about the opportunity to be able to go to different places for exposure purposes. But anytime that you're investing money or time into something, you should have a plan and know why you're investing that thing. So even like athletes that are at this Colorado tournament, there are 1,600 teams. There are 1,000 coaches out here. And yes, like if you don't have a plan or don't know the process for how to get these coaches' attentions, then you might be just spending money to be in a place that hopefully coaches come see you at. But the way that I want you to look at this event, you can look at it. So you can look at it that way, or you can also look at it this way. The other way you can look at it is, I'm going to a national tournament with athletes, not colleges, with athletes from across the country that are in my age group, and my athlete gets a chance to determine or see does their skill sets where their skill sets fit other athletes that are nationally ranked or nationally seen in this space. Where does my athlete fit compared to those athletes? Because again, as coaches, we are recruiting athletes nationally. So I think sometimes we get caught up when we're in a certain place and your athlete might be the best in that certain place. Sometimes we get caught up thinking that they're pretty good, and they might be. But a lot of times, if they're not being faced against other athletes in their age group and seeing the competition and seeing how they play into that competition, you never really know, and you always wonder like why did that about my athlete not get picked. So number one is you kind of want to use this time to evaluate and really compare, not in a bad way, but just really kind of say like, okay, is my athlete where they need to be based on national standards, or are they not? Okay, so that's why you come to this event. That's the first reason. The second reason you come to this event is because there are 1,000 coaches in this space, and there are many opportunities for your athlete to be in front of these coaches outside of just their games. You can pay, again, this is a financial, but you could pay to be in the showcases. Like I worked yesterday, there was showcases going all day, and we had four coaches on our field, and we were working with 2029 grads and below. And so what we they were doing was getting on our radar at a very young age in a space where they get coached by coaches for 2 hours, right? So yeah, again, you paid for that, but again, that's the opportunity. Not only do we get to be see them, but they get to see us, right? The other side of that is that there is 1,000 coaches, and the hope is that maybe potentially when another athlete from another team is on their radar, there might be a chance that you will be seen because that coach is looking at that particular player. That's more of a gamble, but it's still something that you got to be aware of. Like, you wouldn't get that opportunity if you did not go. So again, we could always look at it in a negative light, or we could find ways to see it in a way like, how can this benefit me? And also, I would say you need to have a plan. So if you don't have a system of how to get exposed to a college coach, you don't know how to email college coaches, you don't know the time frame of when to do those things, you don't know what your video should look like, you don't know what your caption should be, your highlight should be, your YouTube channel should be, then you can't necessarily get mad at the process or be mad at the situation of the process when it comes to financial responsibility. So I just kind of want to throw that out there because I think like we are great at playing this sort of, I don't want to say it's not a victim because I don't want to, I'm not calling you out as a victim, but I think sometimes we're limiting ourselves financially because we believe it's a money grab, or we use it as an excuse. Maybe it's just an excuse, but maybe we use it as an excuse like it's a money grab, or no one's going to see them anyway because there's so many fields and so many schools and all this and all these things. And it's like the opportunity to be there and be exposed and also be able to compare yourselves to other people that are in your grade, it gives you a chance to really navigate from here. What do I do next? What do I invest in moving forward? What schools do I look at? Who do I email? Who do I connect with? Who do I move forward and trying to get their attention? So this gives you a baseline. So when you're younger, I almost encourage you, if you are eighth and ninth grade, to get out here to these tournaments and get the experience to really see, where am I at? Where do I need to grow? Where am I excelling at? How do I pinpoint or highlight those things that I'm excelling at? How do I grow the things that I need to get better at? And then move from there. So I just wanted to kind of, again, beat that in there. So let's see. Another question. She's at the one orange, but I feel like I'm getting important questions about how to make. Okay. NCAA numbers. I got this a couple times. So NCAA numbers, your athlete is 100% going to need an NCAA number if they want to play Division One, Division Two, or Division Three. So what the NCAA number does is it allows the colleges to determine their eligibility. So really, if your athlete is not a junior um, or a senior, they don't necessarily need that now. So you don't have to spend the money on it. It's usually what you set up with your school counselor around your junior year. And then they start uploading your transcripts to make sure that you're following all the rules of like how many maths, how many Englishes, how many sciences that you need, all the things that are required. That is what that NCAA number does. So that way, when we look them up, when we are now looking to recruit that athlete, we're looking at their progress towards their diploma, and then how their progress towards the diploma will fit into our recruiting standards for our particular school to determine will they be eligible, partially eligible, or not eligible. So that's what the NCAA number is for. You will need it, but I would, if your athlete is an eighth or ninth grader, they don't need it. 10th grade, they don't need it either. But when they get to 11th and 12th grade, make sure they have it. So good question. I think this, let me see, I just want to double check this, but I feel like I'm not getting. So this person also said they're also in a well-known organization and they just feel like they're not getting the guidance yet. And I will encourage you, if your athlete really wants to play at this level, is to go to the organization leaders or go to their coach and start to get some insight. I think a lot of organizations, they know a version of the system, and so they kind of use that version of the system based on the athlete's interest. So some organizations don't like to just do um, like seminars for their players. They kind of just like to, if a player comes to me, then I'm going to walk them through the process. Or if a coach reaches out to me about that player, then I will get to learn more about them. But if there is interest from your athlete, I would definitely have your athlete go to them and start to use them as a resource. Even if they can't give them detailed information, because again, they're not really recruiting people per se. So go to them; they might be able to help them, and if they're not, then ask them where else they can get the information from. But then there's some other organizations that do a really good job of that. So I think it's just a matter of having the conversation and then going from there. So awesome. Let's see. I think those were all the questions I had for this week. So I truly appreciate y'all for jumping on and for just being a part of the conversation with me. Make sure. I think those are all. Hey, coach, my daughter is 12 years. I got a couple more here. So my daughter is 12 years old, um, and she loves the game. She's a catcher. I hear about so many girls her age already doing so much recruiting. Are we behind? Yeah, Lauren, thanks for asking that question. So you're not behind, and I'm thinking 12, so she's probably in sixth grade. Lauren, would you say sixth grade or seventh grade? If you can answer that for me, that'd be great. But I would say in general, she's not behind. We need to know, and I would say in this seventh grade year, eighth grade year, we should be doing two things. We should be making a decision that your athlete wants to play at the next level. Like it has to be their decision. Sixth grade, yeah. So this is the time for them to make the decision first. I want to play this sport at the next level. The next part of this is now to assess my skill and have self-awareness around where I have gaps. So in this particular time frame, allow her to make the decision that she wants to do it, and then I would say find opportunities for her um, to be exposed to other athletes of higher caliber or not of competition, so we can see where she currently is. Like, what's her arm strength like right now? How's her blocking? How's her receiving as a catcher? How's her hitting right now? What's her strength as a hitter? She's speedster, she's power. So right now, what you're doing is evaluating those things and creating self-awareness around where the gaps are. So in the seventh grade year, we really want to start building the habits and skills that fit a higher caliber player if that's what she wants, right? So we're kind of understanding what the dream is, where our gaps are, assessing ourselves, making the necessary adjustments and lessons and training to help her get herself to the situation. In eighth grade, then what she should do is hit up the local camps, because eighth grade is usually where you can go to college camps. So I wouldn't have you travel yet, but I would have you attend the local college camps. So hopefully within your area, you may have a Division 1 school, Division 2 school, and just kind of put her in that environment. Don't expect anything from it, but just kind of see in that environment what are the type of athletes that are being pulled into um, that particular school and in their camps, and then where your athlete fits into that space. And again, now we're just kind of creating that again evaluation and self-awareness, and we're getting on our radar of experiencing camps from a coach perspective. So once we have that information, then we can determine, okay, is my athlete going to play at a very high level? You will know by their eighth grade year if they're going to be a Power 5 D1 athlete or potential Power 4 D1 athlete, or more mid major or more D2 level. And so, and again, they could be a D2 level at eighth grade and still play D1. I just want to be clear. But we kind of have an understanding of like, do I hit this hard now as an eighth grader because I know my athlete's going to be at that level based on what I've experienced and seen at the eighth grade level? Or do I think she needs more training and skill? And then as she works through the ninth grade year, then we start hitting it hard. So we kind of will evaluate that over time. So that's kind of my recommendation for you with your 12-year-old. I hope that helps. But you're definitely not behind. Did you already answer the question about sending any? No. Thank you so much for asking that question. Reply all to keep all the messages in one thread. So emailing coaches before tournaments, but not getting responses. Okay, I'm so glad you asked me that, Kelly. Thank you. All right. So here's my suggestion. You want to have as many touch points as possible. Um, if the email thread is related, then you can keep it in a thread. But I would still, like, for instance, I give an example of emails that you send before a tournament, or so beginning of the summer, there should be an email about their schedule. And then there should be another email that speaks to that specific tournament. When I say a month before, and then 2 weeks before, you're now sending them your actual schedule. So like those could be three different emails, just because. Sorry, let me change that. The one at the beginning of the summer is one email, your entire schedule for the summer. A month before is one email. Hey, coach, I'm gonna be at this tournament. We don't have our schedule yet. Once I get my schedule, I will send it to you. You can reply all to that email to say, thanks, coach, for, hey, coach, as promised, here is my actual schedule for this particular tournament. That could be a reply all. Now, if you're just emailing the coach about, I think every email needs to have an intention. So if you're emailing a coach to introduce yourself to them, that should be a separate email. If you're emailing the coach to update them on a tournament, that's a separate email. So the only time it should be a repeated thread, I would say, would be like, hey, coach, I'm going to a tournament, and then follow it up with, here's my actual schedule. Outside of that, every email I feel like should be separate. So that way you're creating multiple touch points for that coach. And when they pull up your athlete's email or your athlete in their email list, because eventually, like if I'm actually recruiting an athlete, I'll go back to my thread and I'll type their name in, and I want to see how many times that athlete has emailed me. So so that's why you kind of want to make sure it comes up multiple times. So the only time you'll reply all, I would say, would be inviting them to the tournament and then giving them a schedule to the tournament. Everything else, there should be a purpose to the email. So make it a new email. So sorry about that. Thank you for asking that question again. We are in Charlotte area, so I'm sure we have some locally. Yeah, perfect. Does she introduce herself every time? Every single time she has an email, she doesn't have to introduce herself. It's more of like, hey coach, this is such and such. I have an athlete out here in Colorado. And she was in the all academic event last night, and she got three coaches to talk to her. So today what we did was we created an email, a quick note email. This is what my post was about today. My video was about today was, hey, what do you do after a showcase? So usually when I make my videos, it's because it's real life things happening with my particular athletes that I think would also help you all. I just give them more guidance than I would give people in social media. So what I would say, so for her, even though she had the conversation with them last night, what I would say is like, hi, this is Natalie, 2026. Her name is Natalie, 2026, middle infielder with speed. Thank you so much for your information from the camp last night. I know that you're super busy with the Colorado Sparkler, but I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate your feedback. We had a great conversation. When the Sparkler ends, I am going to send you an actual introductory email so that we can get to know each other better, right? So, and then when I send an introductory email and say, hey, coach, this is Natalie again. Thank you so much for the camp. We met at the camp. So every time you're always going to put your name, your grad year, your position, and then the one or two things that stands out to you. So for her, it would be her GPA and her speed. That's what we're really pushing for her. So every time she puts an email together, she always speaks to those things in some way or another. So it's not necessarily saying like, hi, my name is, but hi, this is. We met here. We met here, and then go on with your email, if that makes sense. So good question, Kelly. Thanks for asking. Cool. Love the questions. Appreciate y'all so much. I usually go about 20 minutes, so we're at that. And I'm going to head back to Aurora here in a minute. So if you're in Colorado, definitely say hi if you see me. But I'm actually leaving tomorrow night, so you might not see me. But yeah, any other questions that you have, make sure you direct message me, and I'm happy to answer them on the next Tuesday live. Other than that, you guys be safe. Have a great evening. Any questions that come up or anything else with my players, I will make a video about it. One highlight, I want to shout out, actually, I have another player who potentially might be getting an offer tomorrow, so that's pretty exciting. The coach, they've been contacting the coach. One coach has seen her play already. Another coach is going to go see her to play her tomorrow. The head coach is going to see her play as well. They're going to have a conversation after the game, and then they're going on a visit. She's going on a visit with them the next day. So usually when you get those sort of things, we're on the right track to potentially an offer. So that's pretty exciting. So I hope and pray that plays out for her. I'll let you know as soon as I know. But shout out to her. So if any of you want that sort of insight for your athletes, definitely reach out. This is what I do. This is what I love. And always looking to help you guys. Again, have a good night. Peace.